Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Leaders of Today podcast. I am Jordan, and I am joined here by Natalie.
Hi.
Do you want to introduce yourself, Natalie?
Yes. So I am Natalie. I'm a senior at Bexley High School. I do cheer. I started a little soon-to-be nonprofit with Jordan's help. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
Oh, come on. There's so many more things about yourself. Show off. What's your sash?
Oh, yes. So I am Miss Heart of Ohio's teen with the Miss America organization. I competed for Miss Ohio's teen this past summer, and I will be competing for Miss Ohio Teen USA next May. So yeah, that's what my sash is.
Wait, what's the difference?
So they're just two different organizations. Miss America and Miss USA, they're different. You know Miss Universe?
Okay, yeah.
That's the Miss USA organization.
Okay, got it. Makes sense. The more you know.
Yeah, the more you know.
All right, so we always start off with a story.
Okay.
So do you have a story to tell us? It could be about anything.
Oh, so I was just at the University of Michigan for an engineering camp because I want to be an engineer one day. And I met this
aerospace engineer, right?
Yes, aerospace. I have a little NASA pin on my sash. Yes, love rockets. That's my jam.
Listen, I love airplanes, so I mean, I don't.
There we go.
Things that fly are cool.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I was just at the University of Michigan. I met this amazing professor. I think that it's really important to put yourself out there when you go to events like this because I knew nobody. So I really tried to put myself out there. I met this professor, and I was just emailing with him the other day, and he offered me a spot in his Aerospace Engineering 200 class for the fall, which is crazy. I don't have to pay for it or anything. I'll just be taking a class at the University of Michigan.
That's so cool.
Yeah, as a high schooler, it's crazy. So I think that's a good lesson to just put yourself out there and network with people as much as you can.
Yeah, for sure. That's really good. So now it's my turn to tell a story. Yes. I didn't think about a story beforehand. And that was totally my bad. Goodness. Shoot. So one of the things that I try to do every week, and it really doesn't happen every week. It usually happens like every other week. I'm sticking with a networking theme.
Yes.
Sorry. So one of the things I try to do every week, and it doesn't happen every week, but usually it's every other week, I try to meet with someone who is either an executive director or a CEO or some C-suite person within some organization. And so usually it happens on Fridays because it's my day off from work. But usually Friday mornings, I go out and talk with someone like that. And I think it's really cool just to listen and learn from those people. Yeah. And one of the things that I learned when I was really little from my dad is like, the answer's always no unless you ask, right? So just ask for things. Just say, hey, can I come talk to you? Or can I have coffee with you? Or, just can you buy me lunch? Because they usually will. Yeah,
I just asked my dad for gas today. He said yes. So the worst that they can say is no.
All right, true. Yes, there you go. That's perfect.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into the questions. What does the phrase leaders of today mean to you?
Yes. So leaders of today is very close to my heart because it actually inspired me a little bit with the name of my little soon-to-be nonprofit, Seen and Heard. I think a big thing that I heard when I was growing up is that children should be seen and not heard. And what I feel that insinuates is that our opinions aren't valid. So I think that leaders of today and Seen and Heard and little phrases like this just remind us that we don't have to wait until we're adults and grown-ups in this world.
So cool.
To make an impact on the people around us.
I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Honestly, that is such a true statement, though. Like, we're taught to be seen but not heard.
Yeah. I was a very opinionated child. I'm a very opinionated person, so I was always silenced when I was younger, but no more.
He said, not anymore.
Not anymore.
All right. So what is something that you're passionate about?
So something that I'm passionate about is equal opportunities in education, of course. That is what my organization is all about. I moved schools when I was younger 3 different times in elementary school. So I saw a lot of different educational environments and things like that. I had teachers on strike. I had a principal as a teacher. So I've seen a lot of different realms, I guess. So I think that it's really important for everybody to have equal opportunities because ultimately those are the fundamental building blocks of what makes up the workforce. And that's why I feel like there's a lot of lack of diversity and lack of minority representation in the workforce, specifically in STEMs.
Interesting. Yeah. My mom, she's a teacher, but her room is in a STEM building, which is super interesting. And her program is actually really cool because her students actually only go to her class for half the year, and the other half the year they go to college classes or do internships. So just her program is super cool, and how she does it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But just that she gets to lead, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And her students are amazing, and there's such a diverse group. It's crazy. They're so smart, like literally so smart.
Yeah, I bet. It's really interesting to be around different people just because there's so many different ideas from different perspectives in the same room.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really cool.
Tell us about so sorry, I didn't explain this earlier, but you were our Leaders of Today grant recipient.
Yes.
So tell us about your experience going through the program. So from like getting the grant to, I guess, applying for the.
Are we good?
I don't know.
Okay. A little technical difficulty there.
I think it's fine.
I think it's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Let's start that over. So you were a Leaders of Today grant recipient.
Yes.
So tell us about your experience from getting the grant to, or I guess even before getting the grant, like through where you are today.
Yeah. So I actually met Jordan through the Central Ohio Leadership Academy, COLA. I heard a lot about his organization, and he really inspired me to take matters into my own hands about a problem that's important to me. So I did some research after COLA a little bit on Jordan's organization. I submitted an application which basically included a couple short questions just about myself, really nothing too in-depth. And
everyone is so scared. They're always like the application's the hardest part, and I'm like, it really
isn't.
It's literally
I think it's harder once you have the money.
That is the hard part.
Yeah, managing it, keeping track of your receipts and your transactions, and even opening a bank account. I still have not opened a separate bank account for my grant money, so I need to get on that. But really the application was super simple, super straightforward. I love writing, so I think it was a really great opportunity for Jordan and the team to get to know me as a student and how they could best help me through the process, because we're just high schoolers. I mean, we've never done this before, so it's great. It's a great way to build a support system. And then I had my interview with Jordan and the board. I was really nervous. Like, I was sweating. I was shaking. I was nervous.
So the viability exploration is the next step, is what she's talking about. And like, you come in and you basically just come in and tell us more about yourself. And it's like,
it's a conversation.
It really is just a conversation, but it really is intimidating, like for sure, because there's me and there's probably 2 or 3 other board members at least, which is just really scary.
Yeah.
It's not even, we intentionally try to make it not scary. Like, I would just, I literally open with like random questions about you that really no one cares about, but like to just try to calm people down, because there just is. It's me and a bunch of other people you don't know. I was ready
for like a little line of you guys just sitting there like this, but they were all in different places. I mean, Madison was like, I think she was in her dorm room, and then probably Josh was just in the car. You were with your dad. Yeah, it was really great. I enjoyed the interview. I liked getting to know everybody, because then when I see you guys at events, it's like, hey, like, I know you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the viability exploration is also not scary. Just like the application is really not super terrifying.
Yeah, I think, and then after the interview, I was matched with a mentor, Mary. Love her dearly. She was very helpful. We met once every 2-ish weeks on a Thursday and just kind of bounce ideas off of each other. She could settle me down if I was getting too stressed or taking on too much. I mean, I even talked to her about sports and school and
that's what mentors
college.
are for. Yeah.
So that was great. I really loved that, just because you're really, truly not alone at any point in this process. I mean, even if you're filling out the application and you have a question, you can email Jordan or Madison or anybody, and they will answer, because it's not a bot on the other end. I mean, it's Jordan.
It's just me.
So I really like that aspect. It's very personal and very catered to you as a student. And then once you're matched with a mentor and once you are accepted, I think you just have to budget, right? You have to
just submit your budget to us. Just tell us how much you need to make this successful. And then,
I thought that was the hardest part, just because I've never done it before.
Yeah.
So once you get over that, it's like, wow. Once you get that check in the mail, it's like, oh, I can do something. I can really do something. I started my program the next week.
That's so funny. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about your program then. Tell us about STEM Girls and Seen and Heard and like what they actually do.
Yes. So I started my program as just a STEM program. I started it in Wagner Road Middle School. Girls in STEM girls, whatever you want to call it.
Wait, is it Girls in STEM?
No, it's STEM girls.
Oh, okay.
I call it Girls in STEM out of habit. That's just
okay.
Girls in STEM. But so I started meeting with them every Wednesday after school. I would meet with them. We would do some experiments. My favorite one, we made edible soil models with like gummy worms and pudding and Oreos. I loved it because I'm a foodie, so that was my favorite thing. We also experimented with different slimes. So that was like a 3-week long activity for us because we failed horribly.
I came for one of those weeks.
Yeah. Yes, I do remember that. We failed terribly at the first time making it, so we tried it again, and I don't really think we got to a perfect point. But that's the beauty of STEM, and I really think that was a good opportunity to show them the design process, I guess, to try again and not be disappointed with the result and just to keep trying different ways. Anyways, so that's how I started my program. And then towards the end, I was looking at all the progress I'd made. I started with 15 signups and I ended with 100 within the first 5 weeks. Insane. Which was crazy.
Literally is like, it's more than, it's 5 times the amount that you started with.
I did not expect it at all, honestly. But it really shows
you told me that and I was like, holy cow.
I was like, oh my goodness. They were all telling their friends about it. I was like, oh, you guys really enjoyed this. Like, wow. I was not expecting that feedback. So I had to kind of replan. I had different cohorts for about 5 weeks each with about 30 girls in them, I would say. And then at the end of the year, I was looking at all the progress I made, and I just knew that there was more that I could do. Yeah. And there were more schools I could impact. And I just kept thinking, like, what else can I do? I looked at what Jordan was doing and the other leaders from COLA that I had met are doing, and I just knew that I could do something like that. So I decided to enter the nonprofit space in the spring. And now I'm kind of trying to be geared more towards fundraising because it's not realistic for me to do this program in a bunch of different schools across the country.
Yeah.
So while I still am leading this program, hopefully starting up again in the next couple of weeks, I'm really excited for that. I'm going to be raising funds and supplies and resources, everything basically that the schools need to implement a program like this. And then also I would like to do some high school leadership training so that it can be a whole district movement. So have high schoolers leading the program in the elementary and middle schools.
That's so cool. That'd be so cool. So, I don't remember what my question was. Oh no, it's gone. That is really cool. I love the high school leadership training. So they're gonna lead the
Yes.
That's so cool. Yes. That is such a that's awesome.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait for the day where I can look at all of these schools that I have under my belt and just go and visit them and be like, oh, look at this impact. This is crazy.
So what big plans do you have going forward with STEM Girls and Seen and Heard then? Besides what you just said then?
Yeah, so right now I'm focused in Central Ohio, and I'm really, really trying to expand across the state and get in contact with schools, but not just across the state, across the country.
Yeah.
So I want to go to college out of state, and so I feel like it's the perfect opportunity to expand and start that movement forward. So I really hope that I'll be able to go nationwide within the next year and a half.
Do you know where you're going yet?
I don't.
Nope. Okay.
I'm hoping somewhere in California, but we'll see. How it works out.
So what things did you not need, or what things did you need that you didn't think that you were going to, or that you didn't know you were going to? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember there was a lot of things that you had in the budget for, and then you didn't need that, or food. Didn't the school provide food for you guys?
Yes. I totally was so worried because I was starting to calculate, and I was like, I need these girls to eat food, because another big thing in this community is transportation and food insecurity. So those are two things I was thinking of. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to find a bus route, or I need to have a bunch of food, meals at every session, because I didn't want them to have to take these external problems with them into my session. I really wanted it to be carefree, really just learning together, not thinking about their home life or anything like that. So I was calculating, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not even going to be able to buy the resources that I need for these experiments. But I talked to the school, and they have leftover food donations that they use for like snack time. So they donated those to us. We did buy a couple things. We got pizza.
Okay.
We got pizza, I think twice. I did it for their end of the year celebration. But that was a really good thing. And then for transportation, instead of doing a bus route, because instead of doing a bus route, because that would be pretty expensive, I helped them organize a carpool situation.
Yeah.
So if they needed a ride home, they usually had a friend who was willing to take them home, which was really good because a lot of them did struggle with transportation. I mean, there were times where I would have to stay with them until about 6 or 6:30, even though it ends at like 5. So, but it was really nice that people stepped up and were able to carpool.
So how did you get into the school you were in? Yeah, how did you get into the school that you were in?
So I've actually been friends with the teacher who works there for a really long time now. And I reached out to her when I had this idea, and I was like, girl, we need to do this. Please partner with me. I would love to have your knowledge by my side in your classroom and your students. And she was all for it. So that was really great that I had that resource to be able to reach out to, because then I was able to start really immediately. And knowing her knowledge in education, I mean, she's a board certified teacher. She knows a lot of stuff. So I was really able to learn with her, and I was able to learn that I don't want to be a teacher. So
Yes.
that was good
Me
too.
neither. Me neither.
I love my students dearly, but I don't know how she does it every single day.
Yep. I love students too, but I can't be a teacher. There's no way.
There's no way.
So how did you even come up with the idea for STEM Girls?
Honestly, I wanted to do something with STEM. I didn't know what. I was just kind of thinking, I was like, maybe I could do a supply drive, but for where? Like, I don't really know.
Are you talking about like during COLA?
Yeah. During COLA, I was just thinking, and then I was just sitting there brainstorming, and I was like, oh my gosh, an after school program. When I was in elementary school, my mom, she always worked really late, so I had to go to an after school program, and I just remember I hated it so much because we would just be sitting around. We would be playing, I don't know, dodgeball or something.
Yeah,
just not my thing. Yeah. And I'm just like, what if these kids can have something to do that would enrich their minds and inspire them to join the STEM field, especially girls. So originally I was going to do both boys and girls, but I really thought that at first I should just focus on girls. Yeah. Because a big issue with this school in particular is the boy and girl contact, and you know, they get into conflict.
Got it.
So I thought that it'd be nice to have just the girls and a safe space for the girls. So I thought, that's just really where it came from. It was just a aha moment, I guess you can call it.
It's funny because so the Leaders of Today came out of COLA also, which I think is something we've talked about, and we probably talked about on the podcast also. But it was just like going through, we have to make a impact statement. So like, what are you going to do once you leave COLA? And and that's yours was STEM Girls and mine was Leaders of Today, which is so cool. And now they're both
we really stuck with it.
We really
followed through.
Actually, so did you guys get accountability partners?
I don't think so.
No. So when I went to COLA, we had accountability partners, and I think it was actually just my cohort, because I think my cohort leader just did it for us. But it's something I've done for all my cohorts since then.
That's awesome.
But like, you have an accountability partner to like hold you accountable to like do your project.
I wish we did that, because I feel like a lot of people in my group had really great ideas.
Yeah.
I just don't know that they had the resources. I mean, they definitely did, because Leaders of Today exists. I just don't know that they fully took advantage of the resources. So I think that accountability partners would be really great for these students, because I mean, I was just speaking at COLA. I was there with you, and that was so great. I mean, I loved getting to know all of these people. It's crazy we're all the same age. Yeah. So I think that them seeing what I was able to accomplish inspired them, and I just hope that they take advantage of the resource that Leaders of Today offers, because I wouldn't be able to do it without Leaders of Today. Yeah,
actually, so we have had more applicants this year,
which
is really cool. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Leaders of Today, the nonprofit, gives away microgrants to 14 to 25-year-olds. So if those students have an idea of something that they want to do to change their community, Leaders of Today will give them a microgrant of up to $1,000 to go and do that project.
This year, Leaders of Today has added an education component of our nonprofit. We have developed a leadership curriculum discussing our 7 values: leadership, generosity, teamwork, innovation, networking, service, and fun. These videos can be found on our YouTube at Leaders of Today CO. We also have used this curriculum to host 2 summer programs for both high schoolers and middle schoolers, as well as an annual high school conference. We are now expanding by developing a 7-week high school leadership training. Cohorts will meet weekly to enhance their leadership skills.
To learn more about Leaders of Today, you can visit leadersoftodayco.com.
Here we go. Action.
All right. So my accountability partner was Madison, which is really cool because
Yes.
she's now our president. And actually, her project was to do something with Run the Race, which is a nonprofit organization. And we actually do a lot of work with them now, which is really cool. She wanted to start a birthday program with them, which didn't actually happen, but just the things that we get to do with them now is really cool.
That's awesome.
Like Rachel Muha, who's their executive director, was at our conference. Oh, you were at our conference?
Yes.
Yeah. So Rachel was
was.
there, and then we've gotten to do things this summer with them at their
Yeah.
farm, and so it's just kind of cool to see full circle, like
Yeah.
the things that we
Yeah,
get
I mean-
incorporated togetger to like, even though she didn't get her thing completely finished,
But
it's still
basically.
like we still get to do stuff like that. Actually,
Yeah.
my Leaders of Today is different than it was going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Financial literacy was going to be it, right?
Yeah. So yeah, they're a little bit different, but we're still doing all the things that we
On the
wanted
right
to do, which is
track.
really cool.
Yes.
So how have you grown as a leader this past year?
Yeah. Wow. There's a lot of answers to this question, I would say. But I would think that the biggest thing is my confidence. I think that
Yeah.
when I was at Cola, I was really quiet. I mean, especially the first few days, I didn't know anybody.
Dude, I think we have the same story. I think we're
Yeah,
actually the same
for
person.
real. No, seriously. I think that we're very just on the same wavelength.
It's crazy.
Same Cola experience.
Yeah.
Cola changed my life.
Oh, for real.
For real.
Mm-hmm.
For reals.
Yeah, actually, so it was like Cola Day. Oh, it was Thursday. So 4, and I came home from Cola. My dad was like, "Who are you?" Because I was so different. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Cola is such an amazing experience. If you're in Central Ohio and you're a rising sophomore or junior,
Yes.
you have to go to Cola.
Sign
you
up.
You have to apply for Cola. I think
We want you.
I think it is coleadershipacademy.org. I think
Maybe.
is their website. Maybe it's .com.
Maybe.
Either way, you should apply. Because
Definitely
it is
just look
so
it
amazing.
up. Central
Yes.
Ohio Leadership Academy
Mhm.
application. There you go.
All right, so sorry. How have you grown in the past year? That was a sponsor for Cola
Yes.
right there.
An ad real quick. Anyways, so when I went to Cola, I was very shy. I was more reserved. I was going through a period where I was like, I don't really know what to do with my life, I guess. I didn't need to know, but I wanted to know.
Don't we all?
Yeah. So I went to Cola and I met so many amazing people, and I just saw the confidence that they carried, even if it was fake. Like, I would never know
Yeah, right.
that it was fake confidence. I fake my confidence all the time. I fake my
Fake it
confidence
till you
all
make
the
it.
time.
Me too.
But I feel like truly fake it till you make it, like, it's terrible. But the more you act like you have confidence, the more confident that you truly will become in
Absolutely,
yourself.
yeah.
Because I am just so personally sure of myself after Cola. And after I've accomplished so many things, it's like, I know what I want to do. I know how I'm going to do it. And
Yeah.
I'm going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to make sure everybody knows it. If you want to underestimate me, I dare you.
Right.
But I went to Cola, and again, I met all of these amazing people, and I just felt really inspired and moved. And I knew that I was destined for great things. And so
Yeah.
I really just immediately after Cola jump-started my now career in doing all of this stuff. I mean, I had never done pageants until
Yeah.
after Cola, and that's a huge
That's crazy.
confidence thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, the amount of growth that I've had is crazy. I went to Cola as a student, and then I came back as a speaker. And then the day after I was speaking at Cola for 2 days, I went to the National Student Leadership Summit in Indianapolis, which is crazy. I'm like, I could never imagine myself doing this if I hadn't gone to Cola. And at this conference that I went to, or the summit that I went to in Indianapolis, I was the only student from Bexley, from my school, to go there.
Wow.
I did not know a single person.
That's crazy.
And I had a random roommate. I mean, it was just something that I never thought that I would do. And I'm just here doing it. And I had an amazing time and learned from these amazing people. I think that it's opened me up to opportunities, not because of even the connections I've made, but just because I'm seeking out opportunities more, because I want to experience these opportunities more. It's like once you get a little taste, it's like you can never get enough. And
Yeah. Cola is such an amazing program in that way. And I mean, I feel the same exact way.
Yeah.
I think even just this past year, just one of the things that I've tried to work on is just public speaking. So I've done it as many times as I possibly could. And don't get me wrong, I've had some pretty terrible experiences this year public speaking. but I've gotten better, and I think it's really cool just to, yeah. Just the whole growing experience is super awesome. What is something that you wish your peers knew?
I wish I knew that I was just a normal person too. I feel like when you do stuff like this at a really young age, it's people change their opinions of you really quickly, whether it's out of insecurity or whatever else. But I think ultimately for me, what's the most important is having a real connection with people my age. I mean, I went and spoke at COLA, which we said was for sophomores and juniors. I'm a senior, and I think
it's rising.
Rising.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's
rising
actually
juniors
rising
and
and
seniors. Yes.
So it's leaving
sophomores.
Year. I don't know why I said that. Oops. My bad.
But I spoke at COLA, and all of these students were like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe we're the same age. Like looking at me like this huge person.
They all thought she was so old.
Yeah. I was like, no, like I'm a senior in high school. Not even. I'm a rising senior. And we like exchanged social media, and they were looking at my page, and they were like, oh my gosh, you're really just a normal person. How do you do it? I'm like, I'm just a normal person. Like, you guys can do this too. And I just really wish that people understood that you can be all things. Like, you can just be a person. Yeah. And I feel like that's something that's not really considered. Just, I mean, even at school, people, I mean, whether they make fun of me or they just, I don't know. I think that it's easy for people to forget that you're a person too when you're doing stuff like this, just because you're putting yourself out there, and when you put yourself out there, you're putting yourself out there to potential hate or just people looking at you a certain way. So I think that just remembering that we're all people with feelings and emotions and normal at the end of the day.
That's really good. That's really good. I understand that, because I think that there's once you do a lot of things, especially as a young person or as a high schooler, even a college student, people look at you like, how do you do that? And they think of you differently. So that is really good advice. But it's like, you can
do this too. Please do this too.
Actually,
I want you to.
I am not trying to take your spot. We're in this together. No, I totally agree. And I've experienced some of the same things, just in different ways, and just high schoolers are weird and they're hard. What is something that you wish you would have known before you started STEM Girls, or seen and heard? Either way.
So I think that something for me, I'm a very emotionally in tune person. I feel like I connect with people really emotionally. I'm an empath, I guess you could say. But I also, that makes me a little bit more sensitive to, I guess, criticism. So I didn't really consider that before going into a room full of middle school girls, but that's all right.
They were really mean. You're mean to me. They were like, no, stop.
Yeah, we love each other. I mean, we're really like a family. I love these girls, and they love me. And
they weren't mean in a bad way.
They are just very not afraid to share their opinions. And you know what? That's what this is all about. Yeah. So I just needed to man up and take it. Like. But I think that sometimes when you're planning a lesson or an activity, like my favorite was the soil thing that I was talking about. They didn't love it.
Did you do it one of the first weeks?
Yes. I did that, I think, the third week, maybe. They didn't love it because they don't like pudding. And I didn't think about that. I just thought everybody loved pudding. So I was so confident. I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to love this. It's sugar and sweets and food. And they didn't like it. And I was like,
funny.
Oh, okay.
That's really crazy.
So I think that preparing myself for that kind of feedback was definitely something I needed to do. But I mean, I got over it. Yeah. And I think knowing that information and knowing what goes over well with the students and what they respond to, like they don't respond to videos very well. They love doing hands-on activities, and I love doing hands-on activities.
Absolutely.
So I found more hands-on activities. So that was really good.
Me too.
A learning curve, though, I feel like.
Yeah. And I think that each group, especially each age group, is different. Yeah. And one of the things that we've learned, actually, so Leaders of Today, like our executive board, just the ones who actually go and like do the actual teaching and trainings on things, we just went through a training for classroom management. So one of the things that she told us was like to continually have different hands-on activities and just different ways to learn or teach them the same thing.
Yeah.
So and yours was after school too, so they're probably already like brain dead. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. It was fun though.
What is something that you do for fun? Okay, so I know that Natalie and I were talking about this during COLA, right?
Yeah.
During COLA this last year, and we were both like, we don't go and do fun things for fun.
Yeah.
We struggle with doing this. So I wanted to make sure I asked her this before.
Making time for yourself is a real struggle.
It's very important too.
Yes, it is very important. I feel like I forget that a lot. So like it starts to be like, oh, this is my fun. This is my fun. Doing stuff like this, I love this. This is fun for me. But I feel like when I think of taking a day for myself to do something fun, I'm probably spending time with my friends, my family, going to the gym. I love going to the gym. My little yoga class that I went to after Cola. But I think that just sometimes doing nothing is the most fun thing after doing a lot of things in the week.
Yes.
Especially when you're a student in sports with all of this going on. I think it's really important to take time for yourself and doing little things to make yourself smile. I love getting Starbucks. So that's something I do for fun. But yeah, that's probably what I do the most for fun.
That's a much better answer than what you told me last time. You're like, I think I'm going to go home and nonprofit plan. And I was like,
yeah, that is fun.
That is not what the answer should be. Do you enjoy listening to Leaders of Today podcast? If you do, share with a friend. Or you can follow us to stay up to date with new releases or new episodes and leave us a review. I am so thankful that you guys are listening because I enjoy so much recording these podcasts. So just thank you for being amazing listeners. So what are some of the big plans you have for the future?
Like for my future?
So like what things do you want to do, or where big picture, where do you want to see Seen and Heard go, or like all kinds of things, whatever you want to tell me.
Okay. I would say works. For myself, I want to go to college. I'm going to be hopefully an aerospace engineer one day. I'm planning to start off in the Air Force designing planes, maybe in SpaceX with some rockets. Cool. But ultimately, I really want to work in NASA one day and do astronaut mission planning. I don't know if I would ever have the confidence to be an astronaut. Maybe. We'll see if it's in the cards for me. But I think that mission planning would be a really, really cool thing for me to do. So that's a goal for me one day.
Okay, so what is mission planning like? What is, like, I kind of have an idea. Like, obviously you plan them going to space, right? But what is the actual job?
So take any worst case scenario that you can think of. Like the rocket starts to crash when you're coming back down to Earth, which actually did happen. And these astronauts need to be trained to know exactly what to do, how to do it, where the controls are in the rocket, and they need to be able to get themselves home safely. So that's something that, as an engineer and a designer of the rocket, that I need to know how to do and need to relay that information to the astronaut. So that's an example. Or if you get stranded on Mars and you need a rover to get to you, having the right supplies to survive is a really important thing. So all of that is behind the scenes that the astronauts don't really think about until they have it in the handbook, which is a pretty hefty handbook.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but they need to know how to do it, and I need to know how to do it, even if I'm not going to be in space, because I need to relay the information.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Literally, I would never have thought about that. Never, ever.
I honestly didn't think about it until this camp that I went to. I didn't know anything about it. I always kind of brushed aerospace engineering off. I always wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to help people, but I passed out getting my blood drawn one too many times.
When you did your viability exploration, you still wanted to be a doctor, I'm pretty sure. Yes,
I did want to be a doctor, but blood and guts I've passed out too many times for getting my blood drawn. Truly, I was like, all right, I need to find something else.
Yeah.
And I always brushed off aerospace engineering, but I had a really great professor talk to us, and he really opened my eyes to the fact that engineers do save lives every single day. I mean, this building was designed by an engineer and an architect, and if it were to crumble, hundreds of people would pass away. So when you think about it, there are hundreds and thousands and millions of lives being saved every single day by engineering. And there were a specific amount of plane crashes and with a plane company that inspired me to realize, like, I could make a difference in doing this. And I have a fear of planes, so it's like, if I'm designing them, I got to be confident in it. Maybe I'll get over my fear.
It's actually, okay, so I saw, I think it was a story, and it was, this is so off topic. I'm so sorry. But it was a story of a professor and a bunch of students. They were all aerospace engineers, and they designed this airplane. And so they were getting in the airplane to take off, right? And so that was their final project. Was they designed this airplane and they were gonna go take off, and then everyone left besides the teacher, and the pilot was like, "Why are you still in the plane if everyone else left?" He's like, "I just know it won't take off."
Yeah. Well, that actually, something similar happened at Michigan. There was this professor who built a plane. His students were having a debate, and he was like, "I'm going to prove you wrong." So he built a plane, and it was a 2-seater, and nobody would go on the plane. So he redesigned the entire plane because he had to make it a 1-seater plane, and he rebuilt the entire plane. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Holy cow.
Yeah. But that's my big plans for myself. I think one thing I do really want to do with Seen and Heard, hopefully soon, is to make a scholarship fund. I don't think I touched on that earlier.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really want to be able to give away 1 or 2 scholarships a year to a minority student who wants to go into a field in STEM. I don't really know how I will determine who gets it because I'm sure it'll be a really tough decision. But maybe an essay, maybe a project. I feel like personally I want it to be more creative than an essay.
Yeah.
So I'm brainstorming ideas. So stay tuned if you want to have a scholarship for college. Yeah.
So how can we support you in Seen and Heard? Or find you? Oh,
so I have an Instagram. It's not super active, but I'm going to try to be more active on it. It's called at Seen and Heard _AFY, Seen and Heard, advocating for our youth. So that's me on Instagram. If you want to give me a follow, that'd be a huge support. I think that the biggest sense of support that I'm looking for right now from literally anybody is volunteers for future events that I'm going to be having. And then most importantly for me is school districts contacts. If you know of any schools that need help with supplies or are interested in implementing an after-school STEM program, hit me up. DM me on this Instagram account. It'll be a really important thing in the future going forward to have these contacts. And sometimes I literally do not know about any of these schools that need help. There have been plenty of school districts that have reached out to me that I did not even know existed. And I feel like that's a big problem, and that's exactly what the problem that I'm trying to tackle is. So if you know of any school districts, maybe it's your own school district, let me know.
So we will keep, I'm sure we'll keep posting things on our Leaders of Today Instagram. So you can go follow our Leaders of Today Instagram also, and then you'll be able to find Natalie that way too. So what are you reading right now? Like, what book are you reading? Or are you reading a book?
So I just finished a book. Okay. It's like a little romance book, I guess. I loved it though. It's called Dreamland. It's really it talks about the struggles of being a teenage girl in a relationship. It's a little bit corny, but I think it was a great read. I read it when I was in Mexico. It was my poolside book. I really liked it because it was really raw and emotional. It made me cry at the end of the book. I was crying on the plane. But that was my recent read. If you have any book recommendations, please, I'm looking for my next book.
Aren't you about to start school though?
I just started school, yeah.
Oh, you just started school. Listen, okay, so my favorite author is Bob Goff. I've said this before on the podcast, but any of his books are awesome. Okay. I'm dyslexic, so I've never loved reading. I still don't love reading. I read a lot, but it's not my favorite thing to do. But the books that got me back into reading, or I guess really just into reading in the first place, was his books. There's one called Love Does, and then Everybody Always. And I read those 2 books. I think I read Love Does in 3 days, which is crazy because I'm a terrible reader. And I read it. It was it finished on my birthday. So I started on a Friday and it ended on a Monday. So I guess it's 4 days. But still, that's really crazy for me.
Yeah, I've always been a bookworm. I feel like as I get busier, it's hard to keep reading. Yeah. But it was really nice to be able to read this summer. I love reading. So
how do you balance everything? Obviously, you're doing a lot of things. You're Miss Heart of Ohio teen. And you do Seen and Heard, and you're in school, and you came to COLA this year, and you did your leadership conference in Indiana.
Yes.
How do you balance all the things?
It is definitely hard.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard. I feel like it's gotten harder as the years go on. I mean, especially right now. I mean, I have practice 3 days a week and then a game at the end of the week and college applications.
Wait, what sport?
Cheer.
Oh, I knew that.
I think it's definitely hard to have a balance. Yeah. I wouldn't say that there's any tip or trick that I have for it, which is unfortunate. I wish that I had a tip or a trick, but I just think prioritizing your mental health. I mean, if I'm like working on something and I'm starting to get really stressed, because I do that where I'll start thinking about everything I need to get done, and it's like, wow, I really need to take a break right now. So I will take a break and I'll watch like a comfort show and eat some mac and cheese. That's my best advice, is to just look out for yourself, because you're not always going to have somebody looking out for you. At the end of the day, you just really have yourself looking out for you. And a lot of people don't realize, like, I could be in my room for hours. My mom was like, what are you doing in your room? I'm like, a lot. I'm doing a lot of work. And some people don't realize that. And so it's really easy to get caught in this cycle of just working, and not taking a minute to just breathe. Especially at the beginning of the year. I feel like it's important to not get burnt out right away, because it just gets more stressful as the year goes on.
Yeah. Great news! Did you know the Leaders of Today podcast is now on YouTube? You can follow our YouTube channel at Leaders of Today CO. It also has the curriculum that Leaders of Today has developed over the past year on it.
Wow! I gotta check that out. And you can also follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn and where else?
And Facebook.
At Students Leading Today.
Yeah, so go follow along to see what we're up to now. It's all of our nonprofit stuff, but also has all of our podcast things. And you can also go to our website, leadersoftoday.co/podcast, and then you can comment and see the people on the show and people from last season, and you can listen to us wherever podcasts are.
Lots of good stuff. There might even be puppies on there.
Maybe even puppies. Right, Gibby? How do you decide what to prioritize then? So how do you put things in a priority list? If you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I think that for me, I have a lot of deadlines that I have to consider. So that's obviously the first thing that I'll consider if I have a school assignment that I need to get done. I've been trying to really prioritize my college applications just because I feel like once I get those done, it's like, okay, it's one thing off the list. But for me, I really compartmentalize a lot of things in my brain. So I was just talking about how I feel like I can't focus on STEM girls until like the first week of school is done. Yeah. Because it's a big adjustment going back into school after, I mean, I was in school over the summer because I took college classes, but really, I just don't give myself a break here.
You're just crazy.
But I think that compartmentalizing things really helps. Even in pageant prep, honestly, I just take it one section at a time. I'll focus on the interview one day, and then I'll focus on my walk another day, or whatever else I need to focus on. Just doing it section by section, just because I'm a checklist person, so I just do a little check and then I'm done. So that's what I would say is kind of how I pick and choose. And sometimes when I have a list, I don't get it all done, and I just save for the next day, and it's fine. And I just have to be okay with it. I just have to be okay with it.
You always.
There are not enough hours in the day.
No, for sure. There's for sure not enough hours in the day. I know I just told you it was going to be the last question, but I have one more.
Go ahead. I'm an open book.
So you're creating Seen and Heard, right?
Yes.
So how are you building your team to like create or to make it successful? Yeah.
So I've been doing this on my own. I of course have the support of Leaders of Today, but fundamentally I've been doing this all on my own. It's been me and this teacher. Sure. So I'm really trying to build a team. I have the teacher I've been working with, Susan McLaughlin, love her. And then my mom is obviously a big support to me. I'm hoping that she'll help me with the financial part of everything, because she's a banker. And so I'm really trying to start to build the board, because for nonprofit you have to have a board. I met a student at COLA who is interested in law, and I told him, okay, if you want a spot on my board, like,
that's really cool, you
can feel free to join. His name's Reed. I don't know if you remember Reed, but he's going to be on the board.
I've been to COLA too many times. I don't remember Reed.
Totally fine. So I've already got my first 3 board members, 5, because you and LaDon. So that'll be really great. So I'm just starting to build these connections of people that I already know, And then slowly I'm going to try to start bringing on new people.
Yeah.
I already have this new person from Cola, but I think that it'll be nice to have a new perspectives from people.
Mm-hmm.
Because while I find the benefit in having people I already know I'm comfortable with, I also think that meeting new people to bring onto the board is really important, because
Absolutely.
we all come from different backgrounds. So
Mhm.
what if there's a new idea that I just haven't thought of?
Mm-hmm. I remember one of the
Sounds
things that was really honestly, even still today, is kind of a hard thing, is a lot of our board members are people that I have known for a long time. So when we first started, we have 9 people within the Leaders of Today organization,
Mhm.
like structurally, technically. So we have 7 board members. We have 8 board members, but one is the secretary, and the secretary can't vote. Then there's me. So there's 9 of us. And all 9 of them are people that I knew really well
Yeah.
originally. And so now we're finally getting into a place where we're bringing in new faces
people.
and new ideas. And it's been a lot easier for Madison as the president to be able to talk with all of them and them not go directly to me because there's the new faces. So when you first start out, it for sure is 100% who do I know and who can make this successful, because there is a lot
People
of
you
things to go on.
trust.
Yeah, and you really do need those people that you trust in the beginning, because they're the ones that are going to have your
There's
your
a lot
best
of legal
interest in
stuff
mind.
too.
Oh my goodness, there's so much legal stuff.
It's a lot of work. But
a
I
lot of
do
work.
think that, because something I talk about quite a bit is like, and this is even with being busy and focusing on the same things.
Mhm.
When you're so focused on one problem or one idea, it's like you're thinking about it too much,
Uh-huh.
and you just have this really fixed mindset on it. And so sometimes bringing in a fresh perspective will really like just change the way that you look at it.
Mhm.
I know my teachers have always told me, if you're really frustrated with an assignment, go take a walk and then come back to it, and your
Yeah.
brain will be refreshed. So I think it's really similar with bringing in new perspectives for a project like this, just because it's
Absolutely.
it's a
Mhm.
lot to take on, just being one person or a couple people.
Yeah. I would definitely encourage you to build your network of people. Anybody. It doesn't matter who it is, but no matter what your project is, build a group of people that are passionate about the same thing that you are, because it'll be so much easier to be successful and move forward and still hold on to that passion
Yeah.
for a long period of time. So hold on a second. Break.
Okay.
What the heck should we call this episode? So everything is a leader of today in blank. And I didn't think about a title for you.
Leader of today.
What have we talked about? We've talked about school
A
and
lot.
leaders of today and pageants and seen and heard.
Leader of today and equality. Is that too basic?
Yeah. What about like
leader of today and
we could just do in high school.
oh yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say, in high school.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
We're back.
We're back.
How are you a leader of today in high school?
So I would say that I'm a leader in today in high school because I am in high school. I think it was a really big hump for me to get over, to break down these ideas of, oh, I'm just in high school, I'm just a teenager, because I think I was 16 when I started thinking about all of this. I was either 15 or 16. And so I think it was really hard for me to think that people would actually take me seriously in thinking that I was actually going to accomplish this, because I've had a lot of ideas. I've had a lot of ideas over the years, and I've never truly achieved a goal in the way that I've achieved this goal.
Yeah.
I've achieved plenty of things. I've had a lot of accomplishments over my life, which I'm so proud of myself for and grateful for the opportunities for. But truly, this is my pride and joy.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I really think that it goes to show that success is not discriminatory based on your age or your race or your gender or where you live.
No.
I think that truly anybody is capable of anything that we put our minds to. And so I think that I kind of am able to show people this. Even the students at Cola, I was able to show them, my STEM girls, I've been able to show them what they could accomplish one day. And I'm really grateful that of myself that I've been able to put myself out there to do this, because no matter what other people have to say, I know at the end of the day that I've been able to make an impact on countless people, and that's just not something that everybody can say. So
Yeah, so we love having you as a part of Leaders
I
of
love
Today
that.
and all the things. We're so proud of you and all the things
Thank
you've
you.
accomplished.
Thank you
and
so much.
Yeah,
And thank you so much. I would not have been able to do any of this without your guys' help.
absolutely.
Seriously.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, well, thank you guys for listening, and thank you, Natalie, for being here.
Yes, thank you so much.
Of course, we will see you guys next week.
Bye.